So you're thinking about living in Virginia's beautiful mountains and valleys, or maybe in a town like Charlottesville, or Staunton, or Harrisonburg, or Waynesboro, or Lexington. Well, if that's the case, but you don't know what these towns are like because you don't live here, you've come to the right spot. That's what this video is about. Today I'm going to give you a lot of facts and a lot of information about these towns and our wonderful area here in Virginia. And along with that, going to give you some of my personal thoughts as well. So you definitely don't want to miss out on what all that is to help you decide which town is right for you. But before we do all that, let's go ahead and get started right now. Hi, my name's Stephen, along with my wife Leslie, as local real estate agents here in Virginia's beautiful mountains and valleys. We're contacted by folks all the time who are looking to sell their home or to purchase a home, and we truly love to help every individual that calls. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's your time to sell a home or you're looking to buy a home. We'd love to help you as well, like we've had the honor to help so many other folks. In order to contact us, all of our information is in the description below, and please don't hesitate to call, text, or email. We'll answer and we'll respond to you, and we'll make sure that your experience is a good one. Additionally, if you like to follow along our channel, Virginia Mountain to Valley Living, we'd love it if you click that subscribe button, touch that bell icon, so you don't miss a minute of all of the fun things we go and do here in our mountains and valleys, as well as the homes and the neighborhoods here that you might be interested in living in. So today, as I mentioned, where should I live? That's the question. Well, there's a lot of questions that people have, and that's one of the best reasons to call us so we can answer those specific questions. But today I just want to cover a few of those things that might be questions that you might ask. So let's start out with one of the most important ones of all, shopping. Where do I go if I need the best shopping? If that's what you like to do, shop until you drop and then shop some more, right? So, well, what I would say to that, it really depends on what type of shopping that you're talking about. Are you talking about brand name shopping or local downtown merchant type shopping? So, obviously, most name brands are found in the larger towns of Charlottesville and Harrisonburg. But just a minute, I'll come back to that. Let's talk about the downtown shopping. Well, Charlottesville, again, is very good at that. They have the downtown mall, which has over 120 shops and 30 restaurants, and it's a great place to visit. But I would say also, as far as a quaint downtown, actual downtown type of shopping, I would go to Staunton. It's a fantastic place with its many quaint shops and restaurants. And if you want to know more about Staunton and even Lexington, another small town I'm going to talk about here, watch this video. These videos here, which talk a lot about the shopping in both Charlottesville and the restaurants, and Staunton and the restaurants there as well. But I did mention Lexington, and as for a smaller city, it has an amazing assortment of downtown shopping and some really good restaurants down there as well. So I think those are the best downtown shopping areas. But now let's go back to the name brand areas. Here's some examples of where you'll want to be if you're in love with a particular retailer or a particular brand. If you want a Costco or a Best Buy, you're going to want to be in Charlottesville or in Harrisonburg. If you want a Target, you're going to be in Waynesboro or Harrisonburg or Charlottesville. Home Depot, Waynesboro, Harrisonburg, or Charlottesville. Kind of got a variation on a theme here, right? But let's switch it up. Let's go to Lowe's Home Improvement Center. All of the cities, all of them, Lexington, Harrisonburg, Staunton, Waynesboro, Charlottesville, all of those cities has a Lowe's. But what about like a Kohl's? Maybe you like a Kohl's. Well, you can go to Waynesboro or Harrisonburg for a Kohl's. Additionally, there are many, of course, other types of retailers. Oh, I forgot to mention Charlottesville has a Kohl's as well. But there are many, many different retailers in the area. You can do a Google search and find all of those. But I think, obviously, for the name brands, Charlottesville and Harrisonburg, followed by Waynesboro after those, they all have good areas of name brand shopping. But like I say, check it out on your own. But for the downtown shopping, I definitely think Staunton and Charlottesville, along with Lexington, have some great downtown areas. All right, so next let's talk about outdoor recreation. Where's the best place for that? My answer would be anywhere. you don't have to walk or drive too far to find yourself on the Appalachian Trail or on one of the many hiking trails here in the area. Now, you're also going to find, additionally, into the walking trails and hiking, you're going to find areas with water sports that involve fishing, and you'll find that on both sides of the mountain. And along with those water activities, you'll find opportunities to kayak or canoe down one of the many rivers on both sides of the mountains. There's opportunities for fishing in the rivers, of course. There's fly fishing in the mountains, and it's just, again, like I say, a sportsman's paradise. It really is. But now, what about cycling? So when it comes to bicycling, Harrisonburg with its Friendly City Trail and Charlottesville's Ravenna Trail are great places right in town to cycle. Now, additionally, these two cities have made multiple accommodations for cyclists to go around the town as well. Now, if you're looking for country road or off-road cycling experiences, there are multiple trails near each of these cities that you'll be able to take advantage of. Okay, as far as recreation goes, what about the parks and recreational opportunities that are right inside town? Well, every city has its share of parks, and many of them include the normal recreational opportunities like trails and baseball fields and soccer fields, swimming pools, and just open space with pavilions for enjoyment. But many include additional opportunities like river put-ins for canoes, arboretums, golf courses, and bandstands for the many concerts that take place here in our local towns and villages. Now, these parks provide great green spaces in town, just in case you can't go a few miles away into the country to enjoy all of the mountain activities in the valley, all that there is to offer there. All right, so let's go ahead, and the next question is, which town, I don't want to be in a big town, which town gives you the idea of having a small town feel? Well, for that, probably my top two picks, I'd go with Staunton or with Lexington. And it makes sense. I mean, Lexington only has a small population of about 7,400 residents, but with so few residents, it's also not a podunk town. I mean, it's home of the Virginia Military Institute and Washington Lee University, both of which are very prominent in the community. Now, additionally, Rockbridge County surrounding Lexington, it's a very rural area. The entire county only has just over 22,000 people. But Staunton, with a population of 25,000 residents, also has, I think, a similar small town feel as well. It's got a couple of brand name shopping and restaurant areas in it, but its quaint downtown is the center of much of the city's activity. I mean, there's multiple locations in Staunton that are less than 1 mile away from the downtown, which makes it extremely walkable. And not all the towns are extremely walkable, but you can see here that Charlottesville is one of those that's very walkable. Harrisonburg's pretty walkable as well. And these areas in the different towns kind of gives you an idea. Lexington's another one that's pretty walkable. But it gives you an idea of how walkable some of the towns are here in our area. Now, Waynesboro, it doesn't have a bad downtown either. It's not as vibrant as Staunton's or Lexington's or Charlottesville's, but many of its neighborhoods are extremely nice in Lexington and are located very near some of that name brand shopping, like in the Waynesboro Town Center. Also, for a city of about 52,000 people, Harrisonburg still retains its small town America feel in many areas, even though it's the largest city of any that we're going to talk about today. But the thing to remember is that all of these cities are comparatively small. So that small town feel can be found in many locations around the area. And additionally, if a town of 20,000 is too big for you, there's plenty of other smaller towns like Stewart's Draft or Bridgewater or Dayton or Crozet that are not only great, fantastic small towns, but they also give you a sense of rural living as well. And like I said, there's plenty of options for a small town feel if that's what you're looking for, with obviously the smaller towns having more of that small town feel in general. All right, but what are some of the city amenities? Or maybe you're saying, you know, I don't want that small town living. Is there anywhere that has more of an urban feel? Well, That's one of the things that's so great about our area. I mean, while the cities aren't huge and they're obviously going to lack major metropolitan attractions like a zoo or professional sports team, and they don't have huge museums, the towns in this area are full of a lot of different opportunities. I mean, for example, the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, James Madison University in Harrisonburg, VMI and Washington and Lee University in Lexington are hubs of activity when it comes to athletics and fine arts and a lot of different things to do. I mean, you can enjoy Division I football, basketball, baseball, and those sports and fine arts and a lot of those other activities, like I say. Now, as far as museums go, each city does have a wealth of museums that you can visit. I mean, as you can see, they're very diverse in their content, and that's just a few of the museums that are here in the area. But maybe you're into more of the arts, and every city's filled with theaters and multiple playhouses and a lot of different musical opportunities as well. And when it comes to that, I'd rank Staunton and Charlottesville as a close first with multiple playhouses, followed by Harrisonburg and then Waynesboro and Lexington. So there's no shortage of fine arts and things to do here in the area. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about another question that we sometimes get asked, and that is, what about traffic? Where should I live if I don't want to be in traffic? Well, let's start with the worst first, and that would be Charlottesville. Now, downtown traffic and traffic around UVA can sometimes be slow and cumbersome, but the biggest traffic issue that you're probably going to find will be up and down the Highway 29 corridor, especially heading north. Now, to understand that a little better, why that is, Charlottesville's population only grew 4.4% in the last 14 years, basically because there's not much room left inside the city limits to build without building upward. However, a major growth has taken place in Albemarle County over the past 30 years, and because Highway 29 is a major artery into and out of Charlottesville, the building of businesses and neighborhoods that are north of Charlottesville has exploded. I mean, for example, from 2010 to 2022, the population of Albemarle County increased at twice the rate of the United States growth in population. I mean, I can remember driving between Ruckersville and Charlottesville in the mid-90s, and it wasn't a big thing, it wasn't a big deal. But today, that drive, especially depending on the time of day, is packed with traffic. And it's only going to get worse because there are multiple neighborhoods that are being built along this corridor, which is only going to lead to more congestion if road conditions don't continue to enlarge. Now, when I talk about traffic congestion, it's not like the congestion in a large major city like Washington, D.C., Chicago, L.A., or New York. But if you don't want traffic, you definitely want to choose your times to drive into and outside of Charlottesville. Now, other than Charlottesville, the cities are relatively traffic-free. I mean, there may be a handful of spots in each city, especially maybe in Harrisonburg, that gets a little busier than others, but overall, it's just not there. I mean, the biggest traffic obstacle you might face is when there's an accident on Interstate 81 or Interstate 64, and the interstate might have to close down for a period of time. But like I say, traffic-wise, Charlottesville is going to be your heaviest. All other areas, you're not going to have to worry about traffic that often. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at a really important thing that we're often asked, and that is, what about the cost of living? Well, the cost of living is but one of the reasons that makes this area a really attractive place to live. So let's start out with the general cost of living. According to payscale.com, I mean, you can see here that for most of the area, the general cost of living is less than the United States average. Now, the exception to that is the Charlottesville area. Now, that doesn't mean that everything in Charlottesville is more expensive. For example, the price of gasoline is usually a few pennies cheaper along the Highway 29 corridor than it is in other parts of the county or over in the Shenandoah Valley as well. Now, why? I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. But like I say, overall, you will find things a little more expensive on average in the cities and areas of Charlottesville compared to Staunton and Waynesboro and Lexington and Harrisonburg, where things are going to be a little less expensive. Now, let's talk about the price of housing. This is the biggest cost of living expense that you'll probably have. And as you can see, inside the city limits of Harrisonburg, Staunton, and Waynesboro, and Lexington, the median price of a home is much less than the national average of $425,000, with Harrisonburg, Staunton, and Waynesboro all having averages under the $300,000 mark. Now, I've also thrown in some of the surrounding counties, so you'll get an idea about what the overall cost of the area is. Now, you can also see that there's a stark difference between the Shenandoah Valley cities and Charlottesville and Albemarle County. I mean, as a matter of fact, over the past year, the average price of a home in Charlottesville has been about $100,000 greater than the national average. Now, if you look at it in a little different way, there are several cities in the Shenandoah Valley that are nearly one-third less expensive than the national average. Now, that stands in big contrast to Charlottesville and Albemarle County, which are both about 25% more expensive than the national average. So, if the cost of housing is something that is a deciding factor upon where you live, I mean, the layout that I just gave you, it should really give you a good idea about what some of your options are in some of the areas in which to live. Now, along with housing, of course, many times we choose a house dependent upon where our job is. So what are the best, are the best job opportunities? Well, the good news is that the entire area has a vibrant economy and there are many jobs available. And Leslie and I have been able to help many people who are moving to the area because of just that, because of a job. For example, we've been able to help medical professionals like doctors and nurses, university educators, business executives and supervisors, artists and musicians, self-employed individuals. Some folks have had technology jobs like cybersecurity. We've helped retirees, including retiring veterans. There have been engineers, physical trainers, investors, mail carriers, diesel mechanics, and that's just to name a few. So now, why did I tell you all of those people that we've been able to help, what their occupations were? Because as you can see from that list, there's a great variety of job types available throughout the area. Now, obviously, Charlottesville and Harrisonburg, being the largest cities, have the largest job markets. But the smaller cities of Waynesboro and Staunton also have good job opportunities as well. And even some of the towns in between, like Verona. For example, the aerospace community, Northrop Grumman. They're opening a brand new 315,000 square foot facility in Waynesboro in 2025 that's going to include 300 new jobs. Now, in addition to technology jobs, the area has always been known as an agricultural region. So there's many agricultural jobs here as well. And the entire area is also home to a large amount of manufacturing companies like Merck Pharmaceuticals, Cadence, and Hollister, who are manufacturers of medical equipment. Daikin is an air conditioning and refrigeration manufacturer. So there's a plethora of jobs that you can choose from here in the area, and there's a good chance that there's a job that fits your skill set right here as well. So one of the most common topics that we often get asked is, what is crime like in the area? Well, overall, it's a really safe area in which to live. The area generally has fewer incidents of crimes than the average in the United States, and some of them a lot fewer. Now, if I had to pick the area that has the statistics that are most above the national average, that would be Charlottesville. So, but as you can see, according to niche.com, when you talk about violent crimes, Charlottesville's rate is higher than the national average in 2 of the 4 categories. Now, when we talk about property crime, once again, Charlottesville's rate is above the national average in 2 of the 3 categories, while all of the other cities are ranked below the national average. Now here's the thing. You might see different statistics on different websites because many of them measure crime in different ways. But that's one of the reasons you're watching this video. You want to know more about the area, and if you're not already a resident and have a pulse on thumb on the pulse of that. So with that being said, here's my thoughts about crime in the area and Charlottesville's crime rate. First, like I already said, overall, most of the cities are ranked below or well below the national average, making it a very safe place to live. Now, in regards to Charlottesville, like any town or city, there are almost always areas of town where more crimes take place. But when Leslie and I are in Charlottesville, whether together or by ourselves, we don't feel threatened, and we've never experienced any violent or property crime. And of course, being a smaller city, it's very different than America's larger metropolitan areas as well when we talk about crime. But I do think that Charlottesville does need to crack down on crime, and I'm sure that's their desire as well. But by doing that, it's going to make a city which has so much to offer an even better place to live. And additionally, it's going to give Charlottesville residents a better peace of mind knowing that they're better protected as well. So finally, I'm going to bring up the topic that I'm not supposed to talk about because it matters to some people, and that is politics. As you can see from the most recent 2024 U.S. presidential election, there are multiple areas that are Republican in nature. Now, those areas tend to be rural areas with the exception of the cities of Waynesboro and Buena Vista. However, there are also Democrat areas as well. This Democrat majority tends to be more in the urban areas with the exception of Albemarle County. Now, that's something that's very similar to what we see during most election cycles today. So my point is this: the area is home to both schools of thought. And if you want more information about politics in our area and in Virginia as a whole, I'd encourage you to check out this video about politics in Virginia that I did. It was before this most recent election. And while it may have some things that have changed, it's still going to give you a better idea of what our area is like here. All right, so does that answer some of your questions about what it's like to live here in this area and which may be the best city for you to choose or the best area for you to choose? Well, I hope it does. But if it doesn't, Leslie and I have answered literally thousands of questions to folks just like you wanting to know more about the area. And even to some of the folks here that live in our area that maybe didn't know some of this. We've helped them with some of this information as well, moving from one town to another or selling their house. In any case, Leslie and I would be more than happy to help you as well. Like I said at the beginning of the video, all of our information is in the description below. And if you're not watching this video on your cell phone, you can even scan our cool barcode there and it'll take you directly to our channel, Virginia Mountain to Valley Living. We'd be happy to help you as well because owning a home, we understand, is one of the most important decisions that you'll make in your life, and that is where to be and the kind of home you'd like to live in. So call us, text us, email us so that we can help. So that's a lot about our area, but I'm sure I'm going to tell you more in a lot of our other videos. But until I do that, until next time, I'll see you around town.